Mike and James, I just want to talk a little bit about what the processes are, or what is actually allowing for. I mean, if a battery gets sent to a recycling facility, how is it catching fire? What's behind it? What's happening? Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
I can feel that one from my personal experience in lead acid battery recycling and other recycling areas. There's a mechanical process at the beginning of all these recycling facilities where something comes in, it gets broken into pieces, usually it's sorted and further processed. So when you subject a lithium-ion battery to that breaking process, so for example, in the lead acid battery recycling process, the first step is literally called the breaker, and it just crushes lead acid batteries into nothing. If you throw a lithium ion battery in there, you'll end up with an explosion, a fire, surely, and quite possibly damage that takes a lot of money and a lot of time to fix, and even injuries to people. So, so imagine that same kind of situation in, say, a paper recycling facility.
Mm.
Obviously, that's going to create a huge conflagration. Any recycling facility with plastics and everything, you're gonna see an equally large fire there. And you can just look up the news reports and see that these are not trivial fires at all. They are in some cases just catastrophic. That things that make headlines, and they cause disruptions in that recycling business for months or even years.
Explain that a little bit to me, James. What are the disruptions? How long does this go for? What happens to the factory and so on?
Well, based on research that we've seen, the principal effect is a rise in insurance rates for transfer stations and waste handling facilities that handle these types of waste streams. And whereas fires were relatively well controlled and relatively uncommon and easy to suppress in the past, typically, um, they are now much more common. The fires can be much more catastrophic. They're much more difficult to extinguish because of the nature of a lithium battery fire and the fact that fire departments and fire suppression systems are not necessarily equipped right now to handle these types of fires,
Mm.
which are driven by a runaway chemical reaction. So I think the principal way that this manifests itself is through greatly increased insurance costs. Um, in our research that was provided to us actually by Wei Kang, we found that insurance rates that had been on the order of $50,000 per year were in some cases over a million, and other facilities that did not have effective means to mitigate fire risks could not get insurance at all. So they were self-insured
Wow.
at this point, while still facing an elevated risk of a catastrophic loss. So the problem is real, and it manifests itself in the form of either the non-availability of insurance or greatly increased insurance premiums. So it can be expressed in dollar terms for these facilities.